Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It has been quite a while since my last video. Real life has just been crazy busy lately, but that's a talk for another video. Today I have something very exciting to talk about. It is all of the Rune competition contest winners and the runes that they made. So for those of you who don't know, Zephy over in May hosted a Rune competition where everybody on Discord could create their own rune and come up with their own ideas. A couple of days ago is when he actually picked all of the winners. So the first rune was made by Juju, and the rune is the party rune. So this is going to be a support rune, and the first ability is Dance Floor. You summon a dance floor. When a player is on the dance floor, they gain speed and damage for 10 seconds, and this is going to be similar to the Pumpkin Mending Radius, which is massive, and its cooldown is 11 seconds. So this may be very powerful because anybody within your radius is going to be pretty much constantly getting this because it's an 11-second cooldown on a 10-second ability, so you can pretty much spam that thing. Next is Disco Globe. You spawn a Disco Globe, enemy gets pulled and silenced for 6 seconds. This is going to be similar to the Shadow Rune Menacing Shout. It's going to be kind of a reskin of that, and then the cooldown will be 10 seconds. So this also sounds like it would be very good. And then the final one is Party Starter. You buff everyone around you with Party Starter. It will give everyone a cooldown reduction for 15 seconds, and its cooldown is 25 seconds. This is an amazing ability. I think we definitely need something like this. This rune is fantastic. Everything makes sense. All the themes go with each other, and nothing sounds too broken. Dance Floor is a little good. It might be something more like for 8 seconds with a 12-second cooldown, but still, I think it's great, and also an amazing icon done by Bobby and over on Discord. Next rune is by Carl Dorley. That was so far off, and I'm leaving it in anyways. So you, my sir, on the screen, you won, and you made this. Anyways, this is the Crystallized Souls rune. The lore, as you go through your journey, thousands upon thousands of souls are set loose. So basically, what this rune is all the millions and millions of mobs we have killed through our honor and leveling and AFKing in ancient forests. This is where all those souls have gone. So, its first thing is Soul Bearer. Shields oneself and nearby players with 75% of caster's HP as a shield. I'm in love with that ability because it just makes so much sense. We have HP based gear in the game with no real use because you really want to go for offensive stats over defensive. Next is Soul Sanctuary. Buffs nearby players with a 90% damage increase for 6 seconds, so that is exceptionally good. Now, it might be a little bit too good to have that plus Soul Bearer on the same rune, but still, this thing would combo so good with Calamity, super good with Havoc, and great with Silencer players as well. Its last ability is Spectre Splash. Heals nearby players based on how low they are. So this is like the reverse of Havoc, to where the lower your health, the more damage. This is the lower your health, the more health you get back. Love this rune overall. I think it's a great addition to the game, and it has a very nice looking icon. So the next one was made by Mr. Kayako, or Curdle, because I call him Curdle because his name used to be Curdle anyways. The one he made is the Rune of Corrupted Reality. Its first move is Pierce Strike. Now it shoots out a voidish beam that causes a wither effect to the enemy for 1.5 seconds. Its cooldown is 4. Does 3 ticks with 300% damage, and the wither damage is 10%. Not 10%, sorry, it's 10. So this is a very nice little bit of a DOT style ability. I think it's a very interesting one, and we haven't had Pierce Strike do a DOT bonus effect as well as its standard ticks. Its next ability is Heaven Splitter. So what this does is it summons and shatters the ground with a massive meteor, and it's either going to be 500 or 800% damage of standard Heaven Splitter. Great change. This is just simply making the standard Heaven Splitter a lot better. It's not going to be a whole lot different than the standard one. And last but not least is Moon Slice. Slashes out 3 big slash of Galactic Void, cooldown 3 seconds, 200% damage. So out of all the abilities listed, obviously the Moon Slice is going to be the worst of the 3. I'm really looking forward to trying out stuff with a good Heaven Splitter that also has a fast hitting ability like Piercing Strike. But yeah, this is the Rune of Corrupted Reality, and yeah, moving on to the next one. And the next rune was made by Mr. Bobka10 over on Discord. So this is a very, very nice one to look at because you have a literal floating scythe next to you. Anyways, this is called the Elder Wood Scythe, very, very fitting name. Its first ability it affects is Safeguard. It will create a wood shield from roots and protect everyone in range. It will reduce incoming damage by 90% for 5 seconds or 85 for 6 seconds. I'm thinking 85 for 5 seconds is probably pretty balanced, but still, it just seems like a very, very strong safeguard. The next thing it affects is also Calamity Shout, so this is a very supportive based one again. Will give the same, maybe a little bit less of the damage buff, and it will give people more speed. So this is something I'm a huge fan of. I love the idea of sacrificing a little bit of Calamity's damage buff for a little bit of a speed buff. So I think that's a fantastic choice, and I really, really do hope to see that in the game. And then the last one is affecting Cloak of Light. Instead of giving the 30% HP, it now gives a skill cooldown, and it'll be lowered by 20 to 25% for 6 to 7 seconds, and basic damage will be increased. So great work on this rune, Bobka. And moving on to the next one by Mr. MLG Doge 1122334455. I don't know why I read out all those. I should have just said various digits. Anyways, when you go to his rune, the picture cuts off the title of the rune. So I'm very sorry, my sir. Please comment down below the actual name of the rune. And then it also cuts off other parts of it. But anyways, it affects some form of ability at the top. It replaces slices with multiple stars. 200 times basic damage. Each tick keeps the same amount of ticks of damage. I'm highly assuming that is not Calamity, sorry, the Mending Sword, or whatever it's called, the thing that Pumpkin and Ice Queen affects. I'm assuming that's that, but I apologize, it's cut off and I can't find the rest of the information. Anyways, its second ability is Menacing Shout, so the AoE effect turns into a large hourglass, yellow sand, and purple frame, freezes opponents including bosses for 4 seconds, 20-second cooldown, 200% basic damage, and 8 ticks for duration. Fantastic sounding ability. We don't have anything like that in the game yet, so I cannot wait to see that. And then the last thing it affects is Cyclone. Summons a spinning galaxy clock, 2 times normal radius, 150 times normal damage. So I'm assuming by times he means percent, because 150 times and 150% are way different. The game works off a percent. This rune, overall, I cannot wait, and I love how it's based off of the Emperor of Time raid. So how to obtain 0.8% drop rate from the time fragment, a piece of fallen from the eternal clock from the Emperor of Time raid. I absolutely cannot wait for this to come into the game. Next one is made by the Orange L over on Discord, and it is called Dragonglass. So the first ability it affects is Blaze Slash. Has been turned into a horizontal, very high velocity but lopsided slash, and inflicts a Dragon Fire debuff, which basically what that does is flames from one of many deceased dragons. Unlike the normal fire DOT, Dragon's fire tick exponentially rises depending on how long the enemy has been afflicted with the debuff. For example, if they had a tick for only 1 second, it won't be nearly as bad as 5 to 20, because 5 to 20 seconds is triple the tick, while 0 to 1 is just not nearly as bad. Anyways, it has a 10% chance for the slash to occur, 50-50 being left or right. Its lifespan is 400 studs travel, so obviously this is quite a complicated rune, but it is extremely interesting sounding. And this ability change makes it so Blaze Slash can be used fast paced, and it also assures that it isn't 100% reliable, so that it isn't beyond broken. So this is a very well thought out one. So the main thing with this rune, is inflicting the Dragon Fire for DOT. So this is an incredibly complicated rune. I'm a little bit confused myself. I'm sorry I didn't do it justice. So the next rune is made by Mr. Walbird YT over on Discord, and this is the Galactic Dragon rune. So the first skill it affects is Moon Cutters. You grow dragon wings, and using your wings, you slash 2 times, creating 2 black slashes that pierce and do 250% damage each slash. And after the second slash, you create a small explosion that does about 300% AoE damage. This is a really good effect to moon cutters, because we haven't had anything like this with moon cutters yet, so I'm very, very excited to see how good this is. Next is Heaven Splitter. You summon the spirit of a Galactic Dragon who will then roar and stun nearby NPCs for 2 seconds. After a few seconds, a planet will proceed to fall, dealing 300% AoE damage. My god, that got aggressive. Anyways, massive AoE, Heaven Splitter. Sounds like it's very, very good because it has a stun factor. I cannot wait to see the visuals on this. It sounds pretty intense, but yeah, so far this sounds like a very, very good, explosive, pretty explosive AoE style rune. The last thing that it affects is the acceleration divider. You use the flames of a Galactic Dragon and condense it onto your right fist and dash forward, dealing 300% damage if hit. If you hit an NPC, they will be pulled towards you and be inflicted with fire and take 150% damage over time. So overall, the best sounding thing in here to me is probably the moon cutters and or Heaven Splitter. They just sound really, really juicy, but overall, I'm really excited to see this rune in the game. So we have 2 more. Second to last one is made by Lol Mick Usim. I said that way wrong over on Discord. So the Insanity rune is very, very interesting. So immediately your health will go down to 25% or 50% depending on the balancing. And then what it does is strongly affect Havoc. So at 25% HP, you're getting a 150 or 175% bonus. At 50% HP, you're getting a 100% or 125% bonus, and at 75% HP, you're getting a 75% or a 100% bonus, all depending on the balancing. Obviously, this would be insane, and this would make speedrunning changed forever because you can make things go way faster. And then, yeah, Pierce Strike will also be changed. Lasers of hand, eyes coming out, just pure chaos. 500% of damage Pierce Strike, so it's just a lot stronger of a Pierce Strike. His cooldown is 2, so it's very, very, very spammable, and it sounds incredibly broken. And then Heaven Splitter becomes Flowers of 100 Nightmares. I'm concerned. So the startup will be the same as Heaven Splitter, and is either going to do 500 to 1000% the damage of normal Heaven Splitter. So what this rune is the definition of Glass Cannon and just having no health and doing as much damage as you can. I mean, overall, is this broken? Probably really broken. I mean, we already live life in this game at 25% HP because of how good Havoc already is. This is just going to make Havoc even more insane, so I can't wait to see this. And then the last rune is made by YX Plays over on Discord. So the last rune is called the Heartpiercer rune, at least I'm pretty dang sure it is after reading the lore. The first ability change is Acceleration Divider to 2 Full Thrust. The player dashes, dealing damage to the enemies in his path and reduces the enemy's defenses by 30%. The player then dashes again, moving the same distance at the same speed after a short pause. If the player hits an enemy on the first dash, the second dash deals twice the first dash's damage. The first dash will deal 20 times base damage, and the cooldown will be 10 seconds. This sounds incredibly, incredibly good. Next, Flurry becomes Heartseeker Frenzy. The player slices rapidly, creating after image of red cuts in the air. Each time the player hits an enemy, the player reduces the enemy's defense by 1% and restores 1% of the player's HP. Each hit on the enemy will also increase the player's attack by 0.5%. And yeah, 40 ticks, and each one dealing 1.1 times base damage, and it has an 8-second cooldown. So just a huge, massive spam of attack. And yeah, I don't know how good this is going to be because Flurry isn't the best ability in the game as is, but we will really have to see. And then the final one, a Heaven Splitter becomes My Blood for Yours. The player instantly loses up to 80% of their HP, not going below 15% of their HP. A gigantic sword falls from the sky, immobilizing their enemies where it lands. During this time, 2 more swords will fall, each diagonally crisscrossing at where it meets the first sword. For each 1% of the HP sacrificed, the damage for this skill will be increased by 1 to 2%, depending on balances. So this ability, this is just an insane rune. So a lot of this rune has to go off of stacking and hitting things over and over again, and I think that's why it was chosen. It's incredibly interesting, and I really hope it isn't incredibly underpowered because it may end up actually not being that good. Anyways guys, I will hopefully be making more videos more often because life is getting a little bit less busy. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later this week with more content. Bye!